the split. Mizzy in front of the 100. Crone goes up the inside and Crone takes the lead in the Kilmore. Crone draws clean out from Mizzy. It's a Queensland victory. Crone beat Mizzy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mock Sports presents the Quaddie Poddy for the final time this autumn. Cashy joined by Nick. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Not too bad. Ready to go. Last one of the season. Happy with it. Just getting into it as well. So,
yeah, it's been a good autumn. We'll touch on a few different things, but like always, we'll touch on the week that was before we get into it. Before the listener questions, I also want to touch on the autumn that was, but let's just start off with last week. I'm sure you have something to say to me off the top of the show.
yeah, mate. Jolly Star, well done to me. Happy with that. Always was winning. Very, very consistent horse. Tipped it for a reason. Osmosis is a donkey. What do you have to say, mate?
Look, Osmosis. They've announced now he's either going to retire or go to Brisbane, and then after that retire. He won't be racing in the spring. At the end of the day, what a journey it's been. He's been the catalyst for a whole lot of love for our podcast and a whole lot of hate for our podcast at the same time. He came out, looked like he was going to gap him, didn't. Oh, well, that's racing. At the end of the day, first trial, I still was able to say, this horse is good. He's going to win a Group 1. And he did. And that was one of probably the better days in mock history when he won. Then 20 minutes later, Oban Burumai wins. And we won quite a lot of money. But, at the end of the day, no one can take that away from me. Has he gone on to be the superstar that I thought he was going to be? No. But still pulled off a pretty all-time call. Picked him as a Group 1 winner and he gets up at 20 plus in the Coolmore. Is what it is. But it's sad considering how much we've spoken about him over the last year and a half.
Yeah, 100%. I've potentially our theme song has stuck around for a very long time.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, punters? Do we bring in an Osmosis theme song?
Ooh.
I don't know. We might have to look into that one potentially. If you're interested, send us a message if you think it's a good idea, or we might post a little clip of this up and see if anyone likes that idea. That's a little off the cuff kind of thing that I've just made up on the spot.
I like it. Aussie in the theme song. That'd be funny considering I've tried to convince you to change it for Nature Strip in the past and you said, nah. Crone forever and always.
I feel like we're, not necessarily me, but maybe you're a bit more known as, people are yelling Osmosis as we're walking trackside a lot, and it's what you're probably well known for. So who knows? Maybe we should add a little Osmosis little clip. Maybe we keep Crone in there and we shorten it up a little bit and fade it into Osmosis, and who knows? Yeah,
maybe. To be fair, it's annoying at sometimes. It's funny as others, but I'd rather be known as Osmosis Boy than, I think I said it last week. I'd rather be known like that than be known for something a lot more cancelable. It's funny. I giggle whenever I hear someone yell Osmosis at me. I had it on the weekend. So many people were just shouting at me as I walked by, and then when he lost, people were coming up to me going, what happened? I've lost my paycheck. On it. What's going on?
Yeah.
Got plenty of messages, plenty of hate on TikTok as well. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, the journey's over unless he heads to Brisbane.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll move probably to Jenny, mate. Wow.
Yeah, the only other really big news ticket item coming out of last week, insanity. That's I had to put it in a word, insanity.
Yeah, it was actually crazy, really. I was playing footy at the time, so I didn't get to see it live. Came off the field at the end of the game. Shout out to the boys, we lost by 15. But
how many touches?
I don't know. I didn't play that good. I don't know. I had kick-outs, so I had a lot of touches, but they weren't very, very. Yeah.
Any
BNF
touches. Votes?
Nah, I didn't play that good. Anyway, lost my train of thought. Yeah, one of the boys comes off and he goes, yeah, probably Jenny won by 30 lengths. And I'm like, this guy doesn't understand racing. He's probably won by 4 or 5 lengths.
Yeah.
Nah, literally won by like 9 lengths or something.
6.8 in the end, but was clear 20 lengths with 100 to go.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Yeah, genuine chance for the Cox Plate.
Yeah, I immediately whacked a bunch of money on for the Cox Plate because, if he's going to do that at Randwick, she's going to do that at Randwick, good luck running her down if she tries it at Moonee Valley. We've discussed it that's really the only chink in the armour of the Cox Plate when it's on a track that favours the leaders. You know, that's the only sort of thing that takes fairness out of the Cox Plate. You saw it with Mr. Brightside being able to lose by just a lip because he was able to get up on pace and hold on. And then, you know, you've seen many times, just on pace is where it's at Moonee Valley. And, gee, if she takes off and tries to do that all the way at Moonee Valley and they don't try and chase her, but I mean, after that, surely they chase her wherever she goes now. They're not going to let her.
They came out and said Buckaroo was going to run for a place and try and get Pride of Jenny out of it.
Pull her back.
But just didn't. So who knows? It's all easier said than done.
Well, that was... Everyone came out after the race. Every jockey, every trainer basically just said, yeah, we didn't chase her. We probably should have, eh? Like, Chris Waller seemed quite pissed off that none of the jockeys on his horses had the initiative to go chasing her. All the other jockeys... Like, J-Mac had one word. He said embarrassing. Like, that we just let her get away with that. The jockey on Pride of Jenny came out and said that I couldn't even really control her. She was just off and away, and I just let her go with it because there was no stopping her. And just every other jockey just let her do it. You know, you see it all the time. Horses try and spread out the field and try and steal it with pace. She does it all the time, right? Usually, they chase her a little bit or enough that it's not 30 lengths. Like going around the bend, it was over because they just couldn't run her down at that point. She could have walked the whole way, which she basically did for the final stages because she could. Like Via Sistina probably thought it won the race because it was so far in front.
No, I agree. Two different sides of the game there. People like amazing on one side and then embarrassing on the other that it was let happen, but it's amazing that a horse can do that.
You've got, genius jockey versus sleepy jockeys.
100%. Just want to touch, I know we didn't put this in our notes, but Sydney Cup, Circle of Fire.
Oh, yes.
Did you want to touch on that a little bit? I thought, what do you think there? Do you look into that and think, wow, Circle of Fire, maybe now a Melbourne Cup chance?
I mean, it's always the case when you see a horse run out a strong 3,200 because there's few and far between. Like half the horses in the Melbourne Cup can't really do that, as you see just about every year. So, I mean, as it always happens, it'll probably shorten a lot in the markets, and I warn you aggressively, punters, do not be betting on the Melbourne Cup right now. There's still a lot to go under the bridge. That horse might not even line up in the Melbourne Cup. But, I mean, certainly something to be considered. We saw that it was able to run it out and run it out strongly. So that's something that you always need to take into consideration come Melbourne Cup time. If it does line up, we know that has the big green tick next to it, name as it's been able to run the distance and with authority. What was interesting about that run on the week back up, there was a few week backups that got up on the weekend, which I thought was very interesting, and I think that's something I've taken into consideration this week with my form for sure.
Fair enough.
Anything that you thought about that race in particular?
Not really. I thought it did well from where it was in the gates, in the barriers. I thought wide barrier was going to probably not get it done, but it ended up getting it done. So, yeah, good run from Circle of Fire in the end. But
good run from Serpentine as well to manage to grab fourth. I thought he was going to run on for a place there.
No, it didn't in the end, but we'll move on. What's your horse of the autumn, mate?
Yeah, well, we had our predictions at the start of the autumn, horse and flop. I can't remember who my prediction for horse was. I know flop prediction was Shinzo. But I mean, horse of the autumn, it's one of two, isn't it really? It's either Imperatriz or Pride of Jenny. I mean, after the weekend, you have to go Pride of Jenny. It is dead set one of the greatest things, and probably one of the greatest things I'm ever going to get to witness. You probably won't see that happen for a very long time. And, you know, as much as we gave her flack at the start of the autumn, and I just want to put that to bed, finally, we get comments still. They clearly don't listen. We've admitted we were wrong about 20 times. We were wrong about Pride of Jenny. She is a very, very good horse.
I'll take it. Take my licks. That's fair enough.
Yeah, she's come out and won multiple races and multiple big races. Elizabeth Stakes, one of the best races of the year every year. And it seems to always have a stacked field, and it produces a story. This year, Pride of Jenny. Year before that, Dubai Honor versus Animo. Year before that, amazing Think It Over. But yeah, I think Pride of Jenny just has to be horse of the autumn. What about you?
Yeah, I'll go something different. I think if not Pride of Jenny, I'd go Riff Rocket. thought Riff Rocket had
Yeah,
a
fair call.
pretty good autumn. It won its first up when no one really thought it was going to. Won a Group 1.
Group ones.
2 Group 1s. So I'll
Yeah.
go Riff Rocket.
Very, very fair call. Very fair. What about flop of the autumn, mate? Who was your flop of the autumn?
My flop of the autumn, I'm trying to think. Well, in the end, if you're going for a 2-year-old, it would be, for us personally, probably Two Darn Lizzie in the end.
Yeah, fair.
For a horse that we thought was a genuine slipper chance, came out and did nothing.
And that's 2-year-olds, I guess, in the end.
So that'll be for me. What do you think?
I couldn't possibly bring myself to say Osmosis, but I will admit it has been a failed prep. I mean, if we're going along the line of 2-year-olds, Storm Boy, Mr. World Beater, what did he do after the Magic Millions? Nothing. To get away from 2-year-olds, maybe you could say Hawaii 5-0. That's been retired to stud now, and I don't think they're charging like 16 grand, and in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't even won that much. It's looked really, really good in a lot of races, but didn't really win much. I don't know. It's hard. There's been a lot of horses that I think if you boil it down to one, and I don't think it's his fault because I think they found out with authority here that he's not a miler like they thought he was. Think about it. I would assume back to the sprints now. Yes, he didn't really get gifted any really good barriers. Yes, he was held up or ran too wide or whatever, but I think, they did the experiment at the mile. Fair enough. But turns out he's just a sprinter. I reckon chuck him back to the sprints and see if he can recapture the magic he did last spring.
Fair enough.
Anything else to touch on, mate, before we get into listener questions?
We'll get straight into the listener questions now. Is Amelia's Jewel from M. Hitcho a flop this weekend? Content has been fucking ripper, boys.
Yeah, it has.
Thanks, mate.
Love you, man. Amelia's Jewel, look, we'll touch on it later because we're going through the quokka, but I'll say right now, 12th barrier, going to be very, very hard. Barrier issues is what cost her last year in the quokka. Might cost her again. Thoughts, Nick?
I don't know if she'll flop. I don't know. I think she has every chance to go out and win. I don't know. I kind of like Bella Nipotina. We'll talk about it a bit later. But I wouldn't mark her out. I wouldn't put a line through her straight away.
Oh, 100%. Definitely not putting a line through her.
As we move on, Sam Taylor, I want a polo. Thanks, Sam. That's not a question.
Well, we might be doing Mock Sports polos. If you're interested in golf polos, let us know.
Yeah, Henry as well. Mock merch coming soon. Something we've talked about. It's obviously something that me and Kashi have probably looked at, and we didn't really think we'd have that much interest, to be honest. We kind of got the shirts for ourselves. We've been going to a couple of events, and we kind of get those, when we're outside the races scenario, we kind of get those half looks like, I've seen those guys before, I don't know where they're from. So we're like, if we get some hats and some shirts and some polos made up for ourselves. And then
some ties maybe.
Yeah, some stuff made up, and we ended up doing that. And then a couple of people have just reached out saying they want to get involved, and obviously a lot of them are our mates that want to help us out, which is really good from them. But some of you guys as well that want to get involved, so it's something that we will look into. But yeah, it was always a bit of a financial worry for us to buy a bunch of gear and then try and sell that off. So we might look into some pre-ordering kind of stuff if people want to do it, and then we can make an order based on how many orders we get kind of thing. But we have been talking about it, and we might bring it through hopefully in time for the spring. We might get some stuff launch, potentially. So we won't rule it out.
It's been the great debate for us. Just about every season I go like merch, ? Possibility maybe. And we've both come to the agreement like, well, the demand's not there. Like, we're not going to spend, as Nick said, however much money and then get stuck with a bunch of merch. But
yeah, if we got stuck with like 40 shirts and then we just like down a couple of grand, that would have been a bit annoying. But
the combination of you guys saying you're interested plus the possibility of looking into pre-order might be. So hold all tickets till spring.
Fair enough. Our next one, are you boys disappointed with the final age field as there is no I Wish I Win or Imperators from Lockie Howard?
I'm disappointed that I Wish I Win's not going there. I think he genuinely could have been an M word in the race. But I mean, it's a pretty solid field. It's just about what you get every year. It's usually, your leftovers from the TJ Smith and those other sort of 1,400, 1,600 metre races. Imperatriz missing, I Wish I Win missing, Cylinder missing, Hawaii 5-0 missing, a couple others you could argue probably would have been there as well. But I mean, I think it's a solid enough field from the sort of talent that's going around at the moment.
Fair enough. Any futures bets that the mockers are looking at the moment from Horo?
Apart from Pride of Jenny in the Cox Plate. No.
Yeah. I don't mind Via Sistina in the Caulfield Cup. I think that's probably going to be mine. It's at $12 at the moment. I think probably Riff Rocket's its biggest worry, apart from any internationals that we're not too sure that are going to come over. So we'll wait and see. But that's for me. And we move on to the last one from Benny O'Brien. If you're a jockey, what do you do in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes race? How do you ride? Well, it's easier said than done.
Yeah,
obviously,
we're no jockeys.
Obviously, now that we can see what's gone on, you can kind of do it. So this is no disrespect to any jockeys at all, but you have to be closer. You have to jump and challenge. You have to slow down Pride of Jenny. Don't let her get that 30 lengths in front. That's the only thing you can really do. Your horse might butcher it and die down, but it's the only way you're going to get any closer to her.
Yeah, I'm glad J-Mac admitted that, embarrassing, probably should have chased her. He was on the better horse. Don't get that wrong. Via Sistina is a better horse than Pride of Jenny. Pride of Jenny might have won by that margin, but that's because, Craig Williams gets to second position, drops the anchor on the rest of the field. They are all not bothered enough to go around him and chase Pride of Jenny. They just maybe assume that she's going to come back to the pack or someone's going to take the initiative. I don't know what they're thinking. Of course, I'm not a jockey. I don't know what their brains are doing out there. But in the end, no one made the chase and what happened. But I would think, put myself in the shoes of a jockey. If I'm on the best horse in the race, I probably give it a red hot crack and try and catch that leader. But hindsight's a great thing. I'm no jockey. I can't really insult or put any jockey down for the ride they gave.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any from Discord or anything?
We had Uncle Camo. He just asked about the quokka, but we'll touch on that later as we already mentioned. So wait for that later on in the show.
Awesome. So we'll get through that. Just give us a rate on Spotify and Apple Podcast. If you're giving us a listen and you like what you're listening to, do that. Thank you very much. And then also just a shout out to Dabble.
Yeah, quick shout out to Dabble, repping the merch yet again. Aussie bookie, changing the game of gambling. It's social gambling. You get to punt with your mates. You get to go onto your mates and those popular tipsters on the app like ourselves at the Mock Sports if you're on the app following us. And just click the copy bet button straight into the bet slip. We do the research. Any bets we put on from this podcast you'll find on our profile on race day or, throughout the footy season because we're going away for a few months now. If you want to follow us through the footy and then any other racing, just make sure to head there. You'll see every single bet we put on. Hit that copy bet. Put as much as you want on. But if you're doing so, make sure to gamble responsibly and set a deposit limit. Use the code MOCKSPORTS when signing up to let them know we sent you. All right, mate. For the final time, we go through the track report this autumn. All-age stakes day. It's a good card. The weather at the moment has it at a good 4, but we've had some rain around Sydney. There's some rain predicted tomorrow on the Friday and on the Saturday. We're up to 6 to 15 mils predicted on Saturday. If that actually does come down, that should be tipping us into the soft range. But who knows? The rain could miss altogether and we'll end up on a good 4. The weathermen, they're quite tricky, but just be aware of that we might be on a bit of a soggy track. Rail goes out 7 metres from the 1,000 metres to the winning post, out 5 metres for the remainder. So, you probably want to be up on pace for your best chance. But I still think back markers should be able to make some ground. They were doing so on the weekend. So I would think that there's the possibility of them to be able to make up ground again as we head into race 1. Midway here, always tricky. I know I said it's likely to be potentially a leader's day, but I also said, can make up ground if they get the right positioning. That's why I'm not scared in backing Peak here. His run last start was too good to jump off him. Screamed to back me next start as he looked gone for all money at the 200, mate, and then all of a sudden picked up and made up a bunch of ground Dill Gibbons on board here again, getting that couple 100 metres. I think if he sits on the back of someone and doesn't get too far back and can really sustain his run down the straight, $35 to win, $9 to place. Laughing if it gets up.
Fair enough, mate. I'm going with Silvanito for me. Second barrier. Kobe Jennings on board, $7.50 last start. Nathan Doyle trained. We met him up in the millions. Coming second behind commemorative last start was good enough for me. So I'll take her in the midway as we move to race 2 in the highway. 1,400 metres. Belvedere Boys is your favourite. $2.60. 61 kilos is my worry here. So I've gone with, where is it? Is it Ochiata?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. Ochiata.
However you want to call it. Number 11. $11, $3.30. Last start. One at Nowra at the 1,400. One at the distance. It looks pretty nice for me. So it's going to be my tip for the highway. We would not be betting on this race.
Yeah, all things considered, Belvedere Boys should be winning this, punters. But you know my rule with highway favourites. They have to be a genuine, ripper of a horse for me to be putting my money on them if they're the favourite in the highway. So I'm going to look for value in Rapid Ash. Rarely runs a bad race out of this class. Comes out of the Country Championships final a couple of weeks ago, where he did manage to zip into third place and when he finally did get clear to the line. So if he does get out a bit quicker here, hopefully he puts in a lunge nice and late and gets over the top of them at $6 to win, $2.20 to place each way on Rapid Ash in the highway. Third race of the day we move to. Look, open race here for the girls, mate. It's chock full of value. You go down the list here, you see your Inhibitions, you see your Miraval Roses, your Cristillis, your French Endeavours, your Connoissanas. You know, these are the ones that really sort of, bum around these, B to C grader girls races and benchmark races, and they pop their heads up at random times. There's quite a lot of horses here that are either coming off wins or they haven't snagged a win in ages. So it's a hard race to make something of. But I'm going to have a play on Scarlet Oak. I don't have to really explain my love for imports first up in Australia anymore. Long-time listeners will know that's usually me, honey to a pot. Kiwi filly that's, won well in her only career start. Trialled fantastically at Warwick Farm. Happy to have a crack. $5 to win, $2.15 to place on Scarlet Oak.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like Scarlet Oak as well. 1 from 1. Trial looked nice. Go to the 4th. 2,000 metres here, and this is a pretty tough one. Do I go with Mr. Consistent in Saltcoats, or do I go with Mr. Consistent in Kintyre? I think I got to go with Kintyre. I think Kintyre's been run just behind every good horse at the moment and is having a good chance. Jamie Carr, Gary Portelli on board, $5.50. Should come up here. I reckon it'll be a good chance here. Kintyre, first barrier.
Yeah, interesting race. I believe if my brain doesn't fail me here, I'm pretty sure this was the race that led off the day this time last year, and it was either Lindemann versus Osipenko or Pericles versus Osipenko in a 4-horse race, and everyone was really bizarrely confused why that was the case. It was a combination of the 2 or the 3 there, and it was really weird. It was they were both paying $2. Very strange, but a much more open field here. But I'm going to be going with Tannhauser here. On the week back up, I mentioned it earlier, I'm interested in the week back up horses. Been building himself really nicely all prep. Continually has just come up just short. I think he's been searching for this sort of distance. His last start over the heavy deck, 1,600 metres, in a way that just screamed back me next start. And sorry, I mistake, not the week back up. The week back up horse comes later in the card for me. 2 weeks ago, he flew into the placings there. J-Mac back on board here. Decent barrier here. Either fades towards the back or he can be a part of the pack, whatever the camp decides to come up with. I just think he's probably going to wait till they go around the bend, wait till about the 300, 250 mark to really show his hand. Hopefully goes Wooshka, $3.10. I think, he finds a very winnable race here. He's a classy horse that's been racing against horses that are just that one bit better than him. And I think coming back to this sort of pack now, he'll come out on top.
enough.
We move to race 5. I'll be straight to the point here. Front page, goes right to the front, extremely hard to hold out. Only got nabbed on the line very late in a Group 1 Galaxy last start. Loves Randwick 1200. Prime placing for him second up here. Should be getting it done. $2.15 front page.
I like Colino here at $9.50. A bit more value for me. Tommy Berry while we're on board. First up records, what I'm looking at, 3 wins from 5 starts. Can do it in the wet as well. Not too bad for me. A bit more value as we head over to the 2,000 metres. Another race here that I don't mind. It's one that I really weighed up when I was doing through my form. I think Faulkner Park is one that I really, really looked at, as well as the favourite, and that's why I've stuck with Faulkner Park. Last win in Albury at the 2,000 looked really nice. I don't mind it here. So what is it at? $5, $2 for a place.
Look, I'm really, really glad you're going it because it's usually the horse that I would be on. I have a big opinion of this horse, but there's another horse that's come here that I also have a massive opinion of. I chopped and changed. You've also got Unspoken as well, who I've backed plenty of times to win a lot of money. He's well placed, as is Faulkner Park, but I just have to be with New Energy here. I crowed earlier in the podcast season that he was one to be in your black books and you need to follow him everywhere he goes. The only reason I wasn't on him in the George Rider was because of that shocker barrier he drew, and he ran like it didn't really get a chance to really show his hand because of that barrier. Comes here, gets to a distance he's untried at, but if he can sustain his run, I reckon, watch out. $4.40, New Energy. I'm hoping he runs up to scratch and the potential that I think he has. As we skip race 7 and 8, because that's in the tip-off, we go straight to race 9. And I reckon, mate, this is the clear race of the day away from the Group 1s. If you look through this field, stacked with B-grade of talent and a lot of horses that we've gotten to know very well over the last couple of years. Waterford, Grabini, Jimmy Star, Wellwar, I Know a Star, Mighty Ulysses, the list goes on. No idea who in the world I'm going to settle on. You go first. I just want to see what your thoughts are on this race.
Jimmy Star's going to be hard to beat. I think freshened up pretty nicely here and be a lot better than it was in Newcastle and it was in Flemington first up. Gets J-Mac, which I think is just an experienced jockey. I feel like the last 2 runs for Jimmy Star were jockey faults, personally.
It's a fair call.
I think Craig Williams riding him down in Flemington really just rode him the wrong way, and we came out and saw that. There was a bit of a protest about stuff like that, and we came out and said, look, don't want to take it away from the jockeys. And then Tyler, I thought, kind of just got stuck against the fence for that run in Newcastle.
Oh, yeah, he was boxed in completely.
Just couldn't get out, so... it's going to be between Jimmy Star and Winchat for me. Winchat's been one that I've followed pretty closely, but I do think with J-Mac on board, Jimmy Stars is still a very, very talented horse. I know a lot of people were talking about this horse in a very, very positive way.
You did say it was going to be a Group 1 winner.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to be with Jimmy Star here. I think Winchat will be a close second. I'm going to put a Quinella on for myself, but Jimmy Star with a talented jockey. Barry's not too bad. Would like it a bit better, but it's not too bad. I'm going to settle with it here.
Yeah, look, like I said, I've been chopping and changing all day with this race, so I had to throw it to Nick to really make up my mind here. I will mention Mighty Ulysses, was pulled up in that first start. We didn't really get to see much of its ability, but it's dropping all the way back to benchmark 100 here. So if it's going to be any good, like Neesham told us it was going to be, this is what we can judge it off. I'll let it go through without my money. If it gets up, I'll be kicking myself considering it's at $60. But I was leaning towards I Know a Star, but the rain that is forecast doesn't look promising for him. If it's dry, I'm on I Know a Star. That's why I'm going to have a saver play on him just in case it ends up dry.
I like that.
If it ends up wet, I'll happily let it, go through, and if it gets up, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
But if we do end up on wet, I want to be looking at, the Waterfords, the Winchat. So am I brave enough to go on Waterford? No, I'm not. But you watch, now that we're neither on him, he's actually going to come out and blitz him. But I'm on that horse that you said you wanted to get on, but then had to go on Jimmy Star. It's Winchat, Nick. Flying for you. I'm back on his board as well now. He just continually steps up in grade and continually just gets the job done. He gets it done in all conditions as well. Potential leader day. He's drawn well, 4th barrier, should ping to the front, be hard to hold out, and I think he's really quick. and he has a really good sustained speed. I think he's quick enough to stay within the money, even if he does get nabbed late. So $5 to win, $2 to place each way. You know, at best you get money back if he manages to run second or third. So win chat for me.
Fair enough. We head into the last benchmark, 88 to finish at the 1,200 metres. I'm going Kaboo here. Don't mind it. $6, $2.25. Regan Bayliss on board. Gay Waterhouse, Adrian Bottrains. 13 barrier is the worry. The only other one I was really looking at was Peril. I do really like that horse. Very, very consistent with Jamie Carr, who's also flying at the moment, and don't mind the favourite as well. So, but Kaboo for me.
Yeah, look, great minds think alike for our last tip of the season there. Classy horse of the field, I think. I reckon him and Kazoo, both very quick, zippy, lightly raced sprinters. I think they could potentially gap them. Wouldn't be surprised if they end up in a photo finish. But Kaboo at $6 to win, $2.25 to place is the each way go here for me as well. So that concludes the last Randwick rundown of the season. As we move towards the great tip-off, mate, shout out to Rocket, who was able to win the tipping comp that we had with the community. Congratulations there. Last week, Nick, you were able to put an even bigger lead on me. Currently, you're on 55.6 points. I'm on 42.68 points. So I've got just under 13 points to try and catch up over 3 races.
100%, mate. That's I think I'll hold on. I've gone pretty good. Usually you're pretty good in the autumn. But,
I reckon, I don't know if this is...
I don't think I've won an autumn
3
before.
straight autumns?
I don't think I've won an autumn. But just before we get into the tip-off, I do want to bring up, since most of our listeners will probably be interested right now, Punters, we mentioned it last week, we're getting involved with race horse ownership. We have 2 horses that are getting involved at the moment. The boys out of Ole Kirk, that's all we can really provide at the moment. It's looking pretty nice. We're pretty excited. There's some content we're going to get out and a full announcement that'll come pretty much on Sunday.
Sunday or Monday, yeah. Keep your eyes on the socials.
But if you're interested in coming and owning a horse with us, send me a message, send me an email. It's on our Instagram, or send us a DM, whatever you want to do. We had a couple of boys hit us up and we send them a message and hopefully they get involved. That'd be absolutely awesome. So we're involved in the horse, and the more people we can get that we know, it's better for a community, I think. It'll be
great. It'll be absolutely outstanding.
Look, it's good for us either way. We're happy to get involved in ownership that we can start recording and doing some content with. But if you get involved, obviously you get the content for your own horse. That's extra that a lot of services probably don't provide, if that's something you're after, or it's just getting involved.
It'll be a lot of fun.
So if it's something you want to do, like I said, send us a message and we can get involved. Ole Kirk, if you do remember Ole Kirk.
Yeah, that's the boy the girls out at Tesort. Same sire as Manal, and we all know how much we love Manal at the Mock Sports.
So very, very nice. But with that, we'll get into the tip-offs. Where do you want to start, mate?
We'll start with the Quokka over in Perth.
Yep.
The Everest of the Perth is what they're calling it. Richest raced in WA. It's an interesting one. I mean, you look down the field, it's a combination of horses from over east combined with the horses over west, as was last year and as the way I think it should be. Overpass, King of Sparta, Malkovich, Triple Missile, Whitack, Saloon Bar, Bella Nipotina, Amelia's Jewel, Ripcord, Oscar's Fortune, Wild Bell, Almighty Class, Super Smink, Petula, Comfort Me, Red Can Man, Hot Z, and Gemma's Son. Look, mate, personally, I only see a couple of these having any sort of winning chance. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I spoke about it a bit earlier. I think Amelia's Jewel is a good chance. Bella Nipotina, obviously second in the Galaxy. Overpass, King of Sparta. I think those 4 be right about up there. But in saying that, one of them will probably land on their ass. King of Sparta is looking real nice to me, man.
Don't do it to me, man. I need to catch up to you. That's my tip.
Oh, it's looking real nice. That Blake Shin's going over to Perth.
You going to be that guy? You're going to be that guy to gatekeep it and not let me have a chance?
I'm not going to gatekeep it. I'll go Bella Nipotina.
Okay. Second in the TJ as well, by the way, not the Galaxy.
Sorry, my apologies. I'll go Bella Nipotina. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was going to say, if you go, I'm going to have to change. And I was happy to do it, but if you're going to be the guy to make me change.
No. It's I'll let you have it. I'll let you chase. If it wins, if I lose because of this, I'm a fucking good bloke.
Oh, okay. I owe you a beer. Yeah, Amelia's Jewel, all the chance in the world, but the 12th barrier, it's going to be hard to get into it, I reckon, with her racing pattern. And look, I need points anyway, so I can't really pick her. I won't be betting on her personally away from this.
A win's a win, though.
Yeah, even though, I need points, I just don't think she wins in the end. I think she's a hell of a chance. Don't put a line through her, but I can definitely see it happening yet again like it did last year. She'll flash home, she'll look the winner, and then she'll come second or third by an absolute lip. And the horse I think that's going to beat it, like I mentioned, King of Sparta, Shinny going over for it. It's a hell of a horse. If it's dry, which it should be, this horse has provided many a good collects for us, and I hope yet again it provides the goods. There's not much else to say about this horse. He's just classy. He's a bit of a dog, gets it done.
Dog.
King of Sparta for me. As we move back to Randwick, we'll touch on the 2-year-olds in the Champagne Stakes first. First time most of these go to 1,600, apart from a couple that have been running around away from those slipper chances. But anyone that was in the slipper haven't really seen this. The best they've seen is 1,400. You've got a node, line back up, broadsiding, Fearless, El Castello, Tenbury, Wells, Manal is your favourite, and In Her Eyes rounds out the field. And there's probably only half of this field that could realistically win without surprise.
Manal.
Yeah, fair. Very fair. You'd want it to win as well, since we want our filly to be looking even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Manal, I honestly, it should be winning. But those long-time listeners here know how the tip-off works. Goes off the odds. I need the points. So I'll be going broadsiding. That is the weak backup horse that I was mentioning earlier that I had to slip up with Tenhauser. It's this horse, broadsiding last week. Goodness me. What a win. And it's seen the 1,600 metres. So the week back up, plus it's gone this distance and this distance with authority. I'm interested in it. J-Max sticks here. $6. $1.60 to place. I spoke to a follower, shout out Anthony. He told me he requested this horse a few weeks back for this market. The market hadn't even considered the possibility of this horse going here because it wasn't one of those horses running around with the slipper. And I believe he has it at 20 plus. So good on him. I'll be cheering it on for me and you. But she'll be hard to beat, isn't she? We've said this race and the size for months. We were saying get on her at like 20s and 30s, but I reckon, wow.
She'll win.
Hopefully broadsiding at least runs a place for me. But we go to the all-age stakes now, mate. Before we get into it, have you got the stats up so we can go through it?
Yep.
Alrighty, punters, here are the key facts and stats that you need to know before making your pick in the all-age stakes.
6 of the last 8 winners have come out of the TJ Smith Stakes.
Since 2009, 9 females have won the race.
Since 2009 females. You said 2009.
Oh, since 2000, 9 females have won the race.
7 of the last 18 winners have been the field favourite.
There have been 6 3-year-old winners in the last 18 years.
4 of the last 6 winners failed to place in the final lead-up run.
Remarkably, 7 of the last 16 winners have all jumped from barrier 7. Alrighty.
Stuff that up for a second there, mate.
Yeah, oh jeez. I was going to say 9 of the last 13 winners all being chicks. No, not the case. 9 since 2000. That's crazy. The barrier one. Barrier 7's just been the magic barrier for the last 16 years.
That's
Craziness.
NCAP.
Yeah, NCAP.
Decent chance as well, I think.
Yeah, I don't blame you for thinking that. 3-year-olds have a good record in this race, as we touched on. They get in well at the weights, and also, this is one of those races, because you get those 1,200, 1,300 horses trying to stretch to 1,400. You get those mile horses coming back. Usually it is those horses that are more used to that 1,500, 1,600 plus, those run-on types, because when the sprinters go too quick for up the top, those ones that run on swoop them, So, it's an interesting race. Who are you thinking?
I got Espiona. I think this is her best distance. I really like her at the 1,400. I think she's 5 wins from 8 and 1 in the minors there. So I think she's one of the best horses in Australia at this distance. To be honest, I think 1,200. She's a bit too short for the Everest. 1,400. It's exactly where she is and where she needs to be. I think $4 is really, really nice. So Espiona for me.
Yeah, look, as much as I don't like her, I have to agree with you that over the 1400, she's pretty deadly. When she gets that 1400, they've finally sort of figured her out. Not a sprinter, as much as they.
Well, they haven't really
try.
figured that out because they still kind of put her in. I don't know if that's just necessarily for fitness, and then they put her in big races where if she runs half decent,
They get the prize money.
they get the prize money, and then send her to the 1400 meter races when she's real fit and get a win.
That's the case here. Nice and fit, fourth up, ready to peak. I'm on Southport Tycoon, 3-year-old, out of the Guineas. Won the Guineas over V8. What did V8 do the very next start? Came out and won a George Ryder, so pretty good form to have there. I've heard from some owners as well that it's absolutely flying. The camp's very, very confident. That adds to my confidence as well. I think super each way bet just in general, let alone the fact that I have to go for points. I think this would probably be the horse that I set it on. Either way, it was either going to be this or Private Eye. I mean, when you look at Private Eye, can it finally get back to its best? I mean, gets J-Mac on.
I think it's past its best.
But yeah, it was either going to be that or Southport Tycoon, and I just think Southport Tycoon has the better chance here. Jamie Carr on board. It's gone second, first this prep. It's had 2 tick-over trials that have just looked nice since that Guineas win. Hopefully it's able to come back that 200 metres because it was the 1600. But like I said, sometimes you want those sort of horses in this race. $6.50 to win, $2.35 to place. Southport Tycoon for me in the final Group 1 of the Carnival.
Awesome, mate.
Around the grounds, what have you found around the country?
I've gone for 3 different bets here, punters. My first one is down in Morpheville. I think it's race number 3.
Adelaide.
A Samurai Mind. I'm an Adelaide guy now, mate. We went down to Adelaide. I'm an Adelaide guy. I have the keys. $2.90.
You got the keys to the city.
I do have the keys to the city. Mornington Cup, First Immortal, Black Booker, $4.50. Another Black Booker next, which I'm sure you have as well. Savannah Cloud, $13. Yep. Mornington race 9.
Yeah, I'll skip the Savannah Cloud. I had it in my numbers as well. We'll go up to Queensland. Don't often see me betting in Queensland because it doesn't usually go to plan. But these are 2 Black Bookers of mine that I think find very winnable races. You've got Cadre du Noir in the second. How do you pronounce it, mate?
Oh, I don't want to try.
That was, long-term listeners of the podcast will remember me and Nick debating Cadre du Noir versus Cadre da Noia, the way you used to say it.
I don't... Yes. Fuck that.
$6 to win, $2.15 to place. And then Eagle Farm, race 8, Zarastro, $2.90. First up, should ping out of the gates and run very, very strongly. As we head to the Quaddie, mate, missed by 1 leg yet again last week as Wee Nessie got up. Miss Hellfire almost got it. Would have been a real nice payout. But the rolling Quaddie, people seem to like it, so we'll stick with it. So we'll head to race 7.
We'll take Manal, take Broadsiding for your tip. And I think I'm going to take the reins here. I'm going to go Linebacker and a Node here. I think those 4 are the 4 top chances.
Yeah, fair enough.
Move over to race 8. Espiona, NCAP. Southport Tycoon.
And who else? Do we want a Magic Time? Do we want a Sunshine in Paris? We've got to go Sunshine in Paris. She's flying.
Yeah, we'll take Sunshine in Paris. I don't mind that. I'm just a bit worried about your chain of lightning.
Surely not again. Surely not again.
We'll take those 4. We won't include the 5th there as we move to race 9. Jimmy Star, Win Chats. I know a Star just in case, and then we'll go for a long odds just to get a bit more value.
Mighty Ulysses.
What's Mighty Ulysses?
$61.
Oh, nah, not Mighty Ulysses.
Waterford at 15s.
We'll take Waterford as well. Then coming into the last, Kaboo.
Kazu was the favourite.
Pirelli.
And then...
Mars Mission.
Yeah.
Happy with that.
Happy with that to finish off. 19.5% is your share if you put $50 on. And, mate, we come to it, the final best bet of the autumn. God, I've been on a shocker.
Am I up or down for my best bets, or am I just about
You're slightly
even?
Down. I'm after a really good run.
So if I
at the
win
start,
this week, I win.
You win the
Well,
autumn
I'm up.
best bets. Yeah, I was up for the majority of the autumn,
But we'll
and
keep
then
doing
last,
the best bets.
Oh
right?
yeah, all year long, punters. That's an all year long competition. I'm determined to get back on track. I had like 3 straight that pulled up, and then Osmosis did what Osmosis did on the weekend. I haven't hit one in ages. I'm begging to hit one after hitting some. I think I had 3 out of the first 5 weeks of the year, and then, gee, it's been a long time between drinks. Who are you on?
Espiona is my best bet. $4. Best of the day. Really like it.
Fair enough. I'm on Tannhauser in race 4 of the day at $3 there. Like I said earlier, I just think it's dropping back to a class that, it gets to go against horses that it has to turn the tables on him. Gets to a distance I think will suit him. I just think gets the job done.
Fair enough, mate. And yeah, awesome. We'll wrap into the end there.
So yeah, the main things to look for, guys. Like we said, if you're really keen to get in early on the ground floor for our horses, let us know. If not, just keep an eye on our socials. Either Sunday or Monday, the big official announcement will come out.
Yep, and you can kind of see what we're kind of dealing with if it's something you're interested in. If you're worst case scenario, if you're not interested, but you're half interested, send us a message and we can send you through the information that you need, the kind of price range that it's going to cost and stuff like that. And then, yeah, we can kind of get you involved. But if you don't want to, at the end of the day, it's completely up to you. We just rather get our community involved and get people that we know support us involved than a bunch of randoms that we probably won't ever meet.
100%. We imagine we're in the owner's section on race day.
Yeah,
beers are flowing, vibes are up. The horse pisses in, and we're in the winner's room just sinking free champagne.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. Coming into the end of the season as well, punters, I'm going to leave you guys. We want to just kind of ask, what kind of content do you guys want to see during our off season? Obviously, the racing just isn't suitable for a podcast. It's just we've talked about it. We
used to do it, but
we used to do
20
it.
people listened.
We lose a lot of viewers. I know we have a bit more of a listener base now, but I personally think, punters, that your racing is just not at a standard that you should be punting in winter. I think your donkeys run around, you get around prices that are not good enough. Look, if we get enough people coming out and saying, look, we want a winter pod, then we'll look into it. But any other content that you guys want to see, footy, NRL, whatever you want to see, just send us a message. Different things that hopefully we can get incorporated.
Yeah, as is the case, usually, off season, we'll probably target a couple interviews if we can snag them. They come few and far between, but if we can get them done, we'll maybe look at some footy players, maybe some jockeys, maybe some trainers. Let us know who you want us to see.
We definitely have one trainer pretty much locked in, not 100% confirmed, but I can probably say about 90% confirmed. Won't name who it is as of yet.
We've got a handful of people like that. It's just getting them in a room. That's the hard thing with interviews.
Yeah, especially since this set up at Bella Vista. Every man and their dog uses this place now. Since
we blew this up.
We founded this.
We
shout out to it. But hopefully come spring, the next time we are on camera for a podcast, unless we change for any other small reasons.
Yeah, unless racing comes in, sports show, interview.
Hopefully we are in our own studio come spring.
Ooh,
it's definitely something we've been looking into. It might not be by just about then, but I'm putting a bookmark by the end of the year. By autumn next year, the start of autumn next year, we will have our own little studio set up at my place, your place.
Some warehouse out the back streets.
So yeah, we're gonna have to build a house. We're gonna buy a mock house, share mock house that you guys.
Mansion.
So. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Have a good weekend. Have a good punting. Have a great winter. Keep involved with our content. If you want to see anything, let us know. If you don't want to see anything, also let us know.
Tell us to fuck off. We'll take it.
Honestly. And shout out to them.
Yeah. Oh, well, for the next couple of months or until we see you again on our screens, make sure to gamble responsibly and just have a bit of fun. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.